Have you ever pondered the trajectory of your existence, the subtle shifts in understanding that mark your passage through time? What if your life's journey, and indeed the journey of all humanity, was mapped out not by random chance, but by 7 distinct levels of evolution? Imagine each stage as a new vista, a higher rung on a cosmic ladder, each one raising your consciousness, refining your vibration, and drawing you closer to an ultimate, perhaps unimaginable, truth. This isn't just about physical change. It's about the evolution of the soul, the expansion of awareness, from the most basic instincts to the most profound enlightenment. This grand ascent is intricately woven with the very fabric of the universe. Consider how colors, from the fiery red of primal energy to the violet hues of spiritual awakening, might resonate with these stages. Think of sounds, the crescendo of existence, from the jarring noises of conflict to the serene harmonies of universal understanding. Universal laws, too, play their part, guiding principles that govern not just the galaxies, but the inner cosmos of our being. At each level, we learn to perceive and interact with these fundamental forces in new, more sophisticated ways, unlocking deeper layers of reality and our own potential within it. The path is ancient, yet ever new for each traveler. It calls to us from the depths of our being, a silent invitation to grow, to transcend, to become more. So, let us embark on this exploration together. Let's explore the 7 levels of human evolution, delve into the mysteries they hold, and perhaps discover where you are on this incredible transformative path. The universe within awaits its cartographers. We begin at the very foundation of conscious experience, the first level instinct for survival. Here, in the crucible of existence, life is an unyielding confrontation with the raw, untamed forces of nature. Imagine the earliest stirrings of awareness, a flicker in the vast expanse of the unknown, where every sensation is filtered through the lens of immediate necessity. The world is a place of profound physical challenges, where the primary drive, the undeniable imperative, is simply to continue, to endure against the odds that nature itself presents. This is the bedrock upon which all subsequent evolution is built, the primal dance of life and the ever-present shadow of its cessation. At this stage, the human experience is overwhelmingly dominated by basic survival instincts: the quest for food, the urgent need for shelter from the elements, the biological imperative to procreate and ensure the continuation of the species. These are the currents that shape thought and action. There is little room for abstract contemplation or philosophical musings. The mind is a finely tuned instrument, honed by millennia of natural selection, its primary function to assess threat, secure resources, and navigate a world that often seems indifferent, if not actively hostile, to individual existence. Every rustle in the undergrowth, every change in the wind, carries potent meaning. Natural selection is the unwritten law of this realm. Those individuals and groups best adapted to their environment, those most adept at overcoming its myriad dangers and capitalizing on its scarce opportunities, are the ones who persist. It is a stark, unembellished reality, where strength, cunning, and resilience are the currencies of life. The lessons learned are etched not in books, but in the very sinews of being, passed down through generations as instinctual responses and behavioral patterns. This is the harsh yet vital school of early existence, forging the tenacity that underpins all future growth. Life here is a direct, visceral confrontation with the elemental powers. The scorching sun, the biting cold, the raging storm, the unforgiving earth. These are not abstract concepts, but immediate, palpable realities that dictate the rhythm of daily life. There is an intimacy with nature born of necessity, a deep, albeit often fearful, respect for its power. Humanity is not yet separate from the wilderness, but an integral part of its complex, often brutal web. The world is both provider and predator, a constant source of sustenance and peril, demanding unwavering attention and respect. In this primal state, the experience of the world is primarily sensory and reactive. Thought processes are geared towards immediate problem-solving: how to find the next meal, how to avoid becoming prey, how to protect one's offspring. The horizon of concern rarely extends beyond the immediate future or the immediate surroundings. Fear, in its most elemental form, serves as a crucial motivator, a guardian that keeps the senses sharp and the body ready to respond to danger. It is a constant companion, a whisper of caution in a world fraught with uncertainty, shaping perceptions and driving behaviors. The dawning of self-awareness is subtle, perhaps almost imperceptible at first. The I is deeply enmeshed with the we of the small family unit or tribe, and even more so with the surrounding environment. Consciousness is less a reflective mirror and more a responsive membrane, vibrating in tune with the immediate pressures of survival. Yet even here, in this most fundamental state, the seeds of something greater are present, waiting for the conditions that will allow them to sprout and reach for a different kind of light, a different understanding of what it means to be. This is the stage of confronting the raw, untamed power of the universe in its most immediate and physical manifestations. It is about learning the fundamental rules of existence on a material plane, understanding the consequences of action and inaction in a world governed by cause and effect. Every creature, every plant, every rock, and every river teaches a silent lesson in survival, in adaptation, in the relentless flow of energy that is life itself. It's a demanding existence, but one that forges an unbreakable connection to the core of being. As consciousness evolves, as the immediate, all-consuming struggle for basic survival begins to yield even slightly, we enter the second level, power struggles. Here, the landscape of human interaction shifts. It is no longer solely about man versus nature, but increasingly man versus man. Life transforms into a contest, an arena where dominance and power become the coveted prizes. The raw, untamed energy that was once directed solely towards enduring the elements now finds a new focus in the assertion of will over others, a primal urge to establish a pecking order. The unwritten code of conduct at this level is often described as the law of the jungle. Might, cunning, and the ability to intimidate or command become the arbiters of status and control. Conflict is not an anomaly, but a frequent, almost expected feature of existence. Competition for resources, for territory, for mates, and for influence is fierce and often ruthless. The world is perceived as a place of limited spoils, where one individual's gain is necessarily another's loss, fostering an environment of suspicion and rivalry. Alliances may form, but they are often pragmatic and subject to swift dissolution when power dynamics shift. This is the stage where the ego truly begins to solidify and assert itself. The nascent sense of I encountered in the first level now blossoms into a distinct identity, one that seeks recognition, validation, and crucially, ascendancy. The desire to be seen, to be respected, or more often to be feared, becomes a powerful motivating force. This burgeoning ego views the world and others within it as instruments or obstacles to its own ambitions. The concept of mine becomes profoundly important, extending beyond mere possessions to encompass influence and authority over others. Conflict and competition are central to the experience of this level. Disputes are often settled not by reason or negotiation, but by direct confrontation, by a test of strength or willpower. Whether it's tribal warfare, feudal skirmishes, or more subtle forms of social combat, the underlying principle remains the same. The stronger, more assertive party prevails. This constant state of vigilance and potential aggression shapes social structures, leading to hierarchical systems where power is concentrated at the top, maintained through a combination of force and the carefully cultivated perception of invincibility. The struggle for dominance is not confined to physical prowess alone. It extends to strategic thinking, the ability to outmaneuver rivals, to form advantageous, if temporary, coalitions, and to exploit weaknesses. The mind, once focused on outwitting nature, now turns its acuity towards understanding and manipulating the intentions and actions of other human beings. Trust is a rare commodity, easily betrayed in the pursuit of a superior position. The group offers some security, but even within the group, internal power plays and challenges to authority are common. Life at this level is characterized by a heightened state of tension. The world is perceived as a kind of battlefield, where every interaction holds the potential for challenge or opportunity to advance one's standing. There's an inherent instability, as power once gained must be constantly defended against those who would usurp it. This creates a cycle of aggression and defensiveness, a relentless striving that leaves little room for peace or genuine cooperation beyond the immediate needs of a particular power block or faction. Yet, even within this tumultuous stage, crucial lessons are being learned. The dynamics of social interaction, the consequences of unchecked ambition, the nature of leadership and obedience, these are all explored, albeit often through painful experience. The very intensity of the struggle for power can, paradoxically, begin to sow the seeds of a desire for something more stable, something less predicated on constant conflict. the limitations of a purely ego-driven, dominance-based existence may start to become apparent, hinting at the possibility of other ways of organizing and relating. Emerging from the raw confrontations of the second level, humanity steps onto the third stage, economic survival. Here, the overt battles for physical dominance often recede, replaced by a more complex, systemic competition for resources, money, and status. The jungle's law of might is subtly transmuted into the marketplace's law of acquisition. The drive is still for survival, but it's a survival increasingly defined by economic standing and material wealth, a new kind of power in a more organized world. Individualism and the ego find fertile ground in this environment, often becoming the primary engines of action. The focus shifts towards personal achievement, accumulation, and the outward display of success. More becomes the mantra: more possessions, more influence, more security, as defined by the prevailing economic system. The self is often seen as a distinct competitive unit, striving to carve out its share, and perhaps more than its share, in a world perceived to operate on principles of scarcity and rivalry. Ambition is lauded, and the pursuit of self-interest is often seen as a virtue. This level sees the rise and solidification of complex economic structures. Societies organize themselves around the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. Money becomes a powerful symbol and a universal medium of exchange, often taking on a life of its own, an abstract representation of value that can nevertheless dictate the concrete realities of life. Hierarchies persist, but they are now increasingly based on wealth and economic influence rather than sheer physical power or lineage alone. The game has new rules, but the competitive instinct remains strong. The pursuit of economic survival and advancement often brings with it a new set of anxieties: the fear of poverty, the pressure to maintain or improve one's social standing, the relentless need to keep up with perceived societal expectations. These can create a pervasive sense of unease. The illusion that security and happiness can be definitively purchased or accumulated through material means is a powerful one, driving an endless cycle of striving, acquiring, and often feeling that it's still not quite enough. The goalposts of success seem to continually shift. Individualism, while fostering innovation and personal drive, can also lead to a sense of isolation. If everyone is primarily focused on their own economic trajectory, the bonds of community can weaken. The ego, fueled by comparison and competition, may find itself constantly measuring its worth against others, leading to envy, resentment, or a hollow sense of superiority. The deeper human need for connection and meaning can become overshadowed by the more immediate demands of economic life. Yet this stage is not without its own crucial evolutionary lessons. It fosters ingenuity, resourcefulness, and the development of complex systems of organization and trade. It teaches the value of hard work, discipline, and strategic planning. The intricate dance of supply and demand, investment and return, risk and reward, provides a vast learning ground for understanding systemic dynamics and the consequences of collective economic behavior. It is a period of immense material progress and societal transformation, laying the groundwork for future possibilities. However, as individuals navigate this labyrinth of ambition, a quiet dissatisfaction may begin to stir. The relentless pursuit of external validation through wealth and status can eventually feel empty. The constant pressure to compete and accumulate can lead to burnout and a questioning of life's deeper purpose. It is often from within the heart of this economic struggle that the first genuine yearning for something beyond the material, something that nourishes the soul rather than just the bank account, begins to emerge, signaling a readiness for the next stage of evolution. After the relentless drives of instinct, power, and economic survival, a profound shift can occur. We arrive at the fourth level, liberation from struggle. Now, this isn't necessarily a liberation from all effort, but rather a liberation from the unconscious struggle, from the reactive, fear-based patterns that characterize the earlier stages. Here, the individual begins to awaken to the possibility of conscious learning, of deliberate self-direction, and of understanding the deeper mechanisms that govern their own growth and experience. It's a pivotal turning point. The journey into this level often begins with a questioning, a sense of dissatisfaction with the old ways of being. The endless pursuit of external validation, be it through dominance or material wealth, starts to reveal its inherent limitations. A still, small voice within might ask, "Is this all there is?" This introspective turn marks the dawn of true self-awareness. Individuals start to observe their own thoughts, emotions, and behaviors with a newfound curiosity, seeking to understand the roots of their patterns rather than simply reacting to them. This is the stage where conscious learning truly blossoms. The mind, once a tool for survival or competition, now becomes an instrument for self-discovery and understanding. There's a hunger for knowledge, not just for practical application, but for its own sake, for the light it sheds on the human condition and the nature of reality. Philosophy, psychology, spirituality, art, and science become pathways to explore the inner and outer worlds, seeking meaning and coherence beyond the surface appearances of life. A crucial realization at this level is that true freedom is an internal state. It's not about conquering the external world or amassing endless resources, but about mastering oneself. The understanding dawns that one has agency over one's responses, beliefs, and ultimately, one's experience of life. The endless struggle for survival, power, or wealth begins to be seen not as an inescapable reality, but as a particular mode of engagement with the world, one that can be consciously transcended or transformed. As self-awareness deepens, so too does empathy. By understanding their own inner landscape, their fears, desires, and vulnerabilities, individuals become better able to recognize and connect with the inner experiences of others. The sharp edges of the ego, so prominent in earlier stages, begin to soften. A broader perspective emerges, one that sees beyond personal gain and recognizes the interconnectedness of all beings. Compassion is no longer a weakness, but a strength, a sign of evolving consciousness. The process of liberation is one of shedding old skins, outdated beliefs, conditioned responses, and limiting self-concepts. It involves confronting one's own shadow, the aspects of the self that have been denied or repressed. This can be challenging work, requiring courage and honesty, but it's essential for genuine growth. Each layer shed brings a greater sense of lightness, clarity, and authenticity. The individual starts to operate less from egoic compulsion and more from a place of conscious choice and inner guidance. This fourth level represents a profound transition from a largely externally driven existence to an internally guided one. It's the threshold where humanity begins to actively and consciously participate in its own evolution. The struggle does not necessarily cease, but its nature changes. It becomes less about fighting the world and more about aligning with a deeper truth within oneself, cultivating wisdom, and laying the foundation for a more harmonious and fulfilling existence. It is truly the beginning of the journey inward. Having embarked on the path of conscious learning and self-liberation, the evolving soul reaches the fifth level, harmony with the universe. This stage represents a profound shift from the individualism and competition of earlier phases to a state of peaceful coexistence and deeply felt interconnectedness. The struggles that once defined existence begin to dissolve, replaced by a flowing, resonant engagement with life. It's as if one has finally learned the steps to a cosmic dance, moving in rhythm with the music of the spheres. Here, the artificial barriers that once separated individuals and groups, social, economic, national, or ideological, begin to lose their power and eventually dissolve. The understanding that all life is fundamentally one, a vast, interwoven tapestry of consciousness, becomes not just an intellectual concept, but a lived reality. This recognition fosters a natural environment of trust, cooperation, and mutual support. The us versus them mentality gives way to a comprehensive we, embracing all of humanity and indeed all of existence. As boundaries soften, trust and cooperation flourish organically. There is less need for rigid laws and external controls because individuals are guided by an internal moral compass, a deep sense of responsibility towards the whole. Interactions are characterized by openness, honesty, and genuine care. The competitive drive is transmuted into a collective aspiration for the well-being and evolution of all. Resources are shared, knowledge is freely exchanged, and the success of one is seen as contributing to the success of all. Life at this level is lived in conscious alignment with natural and universal laws. There's an intuitive understanding of the principles that govern existence, principles of balance, flow, reciprocity, and unconditional love. Actions are no longer solely dictated by egoic desires or societal pressures, but emerge from a place of deep inner knowing and a desire to contribute positively to the greater harmony. This alignment brings a sense of effortlessness and grace to daily life, a feeling of being supported and guided by the universe itself. Intuition becomes a primary guiding force, superseding the often conflicted voices of the rational mind or the conditioned ego. There is a clarity of perception, an ability to see beyond surface appearances and discern the underlying truth of situations and the deeper needs of oneself and others. Decisions are made with a quiet confidence that comes from this inner connection to wisdom. The constant striving and anxiety of earlier stages are replaced by a profound sense of peace and acceptance. The experience of joy, contentment, and fulfillment becomes the natural state of being, rather than a fleeting goal to be pursued. This joy is not dependent on external circumstances, but arises from within, from the simple act of being present, connected, and in harmony with the flow of life. There is a deep appreciation for the beauty and wonder of existence, a sense of sacredness in the everyday. Love, in its most expansive and unconditional form, becomes the atmosphere in which life unfolds. This fifth level represents a mature stage of human consciousness, where society functions as a harmonious organism and individuals experience a profound sense of belonging and purpose. It is a testament to the potential that lies within humanity to create a world based on wisdom, compassion, and a deep reverence for life. The journey through the earlier, more turbulent levels has paved the way for this state of grace, demonstrating that evolution is indeed a path towards greater light and love. As harmony with the universe deepens and stabilizes, consciousness prepares for another extraordinary leap, entering the sixth level, transcending matter. This is a stage where the perceived solidity of the material world and the limitations of the physical body begin to yield to a more profound understanding of reality as energy and consciousness. The individual starts to shed the last vestiges of material dependence, moving towards a state of being that is luminous, intuitive, and profoundly aligned with the subtle forces of creation. At this level, the release from material dependence becomes increasingly complete. The anxieties and attachments related to physical possessions, worldly status, or even the physical body itself largely fall away. There is a knowing that true sustenance and security come not from the external world, but from an unshakable connection to the infinite source of all being. The focus shifts from accumulating or maintaining material things to cultivating and radiating spiritual energy, light, and wisdom. Intuition evolves into a highly refined instrument of perception, often manifesting as direct knowing, telepathic abilities, or a profound sensitivity to energetic fields. The veils between dimensions may become thinner, allowing for a broader awareness of realities beyond the ordinary senses. The individual lives in a state of heightened awareness, perceiving the interconnectedness of all things, not just as a concept, but as a palpable, energetic reality. Guidance comes clearly and directly from a higher source or the deeper self. Living in perfect harmony with universal laws is no longer a conscious effort, but an effortless state of being. The individual becomes a clear conduit for these laws, embodying principles of love, wisdom, and power in their purest form. Actions are spontaneous yet perfectly aligned, contributing to the highest good without conscious deliberation. There's a sense of being lived by the universe, a joyful surrender to the divine flow that orchestrates all of existence with impeccable intelligence. A remarkable phenomenon that may occur at this stage is a transformation of the physical body. As consciousness becomes increasingly refined and filled with light, the body itself may become more luminous, less dense. The aging process, as commonly understood, may slow significantly, halt, or even reverse, as the cells respond to the heightened vibration of consciousness. The body is perceived not as a decaying vessel, but as a dynamic, adaptable energy system, capable of regeneration and transformation. There is a growing mastery over physical reality, not through force or manipulation, but through conscious intention and alignment with universal energies. The understanding that thought and consciousness are creative forces becomes experiential. Manifestation occurs more directly and gracefully, as the individual's will is harmonized with the divine will. This is not about controlling the world for egoic purposes, but about co-creating with the universe in a way that serves the evolution of all. This sixth level is a profound state of being, where the individual experiences themselves as a being of light, temporarily inhabiting a physical form but not limited by it. There is a deep understanding of the energetic nature of existence, a perception of the universe as a symphony of vibrations. It is a preparation for the ultimate liberation, a shedding of the final layers of illusion, as consciousness readies itself to merge fully with its source, while retaining its unique essence. It is the dawn of true spiritual mastery. We arrive now at the culmination of this extraordinary evolutionary journey, the seventh and final level, immortality and mastery. Here, consciousness transcends the limitations of individual human experience, achieving a state of continuity and awareness that extends beyond the confines of physical birth and death. This is not merely an endless existence, but a profound realization of one's eternal nature, emerging with the infinite while retaining a unique point of illumination within the cosmic whole. At this pinnacle of evolution, consciousness achieves true immortality. The fear of death, which subtly or overtly influences so much of human experience at lower levels, is completely extinguished, replaced by an absolute knowing of one's timeless, indestructible essence. The cycle of reincarnation, if part of that soul's journey, may reach its completion, or the being may choose to navigate existence from a new, liberated perspective, unconstrained by the usual karmic imperatives. The individual transcends the ordinary human experience, yet does so with the accumulated wisdom, compassion, and love cultivated through all the preceding stages. They do not become aloof or disconnected from humanity. Rather, their capacity to love and serve expands exponentially. Having navigated the full spectrum of evolution, they possess a profound understanding of the challenges and triumphs inherent in the journey and are uniquely equipped to assist others. Many who reach this level choose to become guides, teachers, or what some traditions call ascended masters. They may operate from dimensions beyond the physical, or choose to manifest in ways that can interact with and inspire those still treading the path. Their presence is a beacon of light, offering wisdom, guidance, and encouragement to souls striving for their own awakening. They embody the living truth that such heights of consciousness are attainable. There is a merging with the infinite, a return to the ocean of cosmic consciousness, yet the individual drop retains its unique awareness and the exquisite essence of its journey. It is a state of unity that does not obliterate individuality, but rather perfects it, allowing it to shine as a unique facet of the divine. They become a living embodiment of universal truth and unconditional love, their very being radiating these qualities out into the cosmos. This is the ultimate liberation, freedom from the illusion of separation, freedom from the chains of cause and effect as they bind less evolved states, and freedom from the cycle of suffering. It is not an escape from reality, but a full awakening to the true nature of reality, a reality that is inherently joyful, loving, and infinite. The master at this level sees the divine play in all things and participates in it with utter freedom and boundless compassion. To reach this stage is to become an eternal flame, a source of light and inspiration for countless others. Their influence is not limited by time or space, as they contribute to the uplifting of consciousness on a universal scale. They are the promise fulfilled, the potential of human evolution fully realized, demonstrating that the path from instinct to immortality is indeed a sacred journey towards becoming a co-creator with the divine, a radiant expression of the universe's own unfolding awareness. We have journeyed together through these 7 levels of human evolution, from the most fundamental instincts of survival to the boundless realms of immortality and mastery. It is a vast and profound map of potential. Yet, it is crucial to remember that no matter where you perceive yourself to be on this journey, every experience, every challenge, every insight is a vital and valuable step toward greater wisdom, deeper compassion, and a more expansive love. There are no wasted moments, only lessons learned and growth achieved. The path of evolution is exquisitely unique for each and every one of us. Your timeline, your specific lessons, and your mode of expression will be your own. There is no single right way to ascend this ladder of consciousness. However, despite the infinite variety of individual paths, the destination, the ultimate potential, remains the same for all awakening to our true, divine, immortal nature. It is a homecoming to the essence of who we have always been, beneath the layers of conditioning and illusion. So, as you reflect on these stages, consider where your current experiences might place you. This is not for judgment, but for understanding and inspiration. Which level resonates most strongly with your life right now? What insights can you draw to illuminate your next step? We invite you to share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. Your journey is part of a collective human story, and remember always to keep evolving, keep seeking, and keep shining your unique light.